So I got a question for you.
Go for it.
If you walk into the Volvo showroom
Right.
and you put down your name to buy a Volvo car,
Right.
do they look at your ID and check your age if you're about 50 years old or something before they reserve a car for you?
I mean, listen, it's like they've never even claimed that they make cool things. Like Volvo and cool are never together.
Nope.
Never.
About the car that we're in today.
All right, so for the past few days, I've been driving this, which is the Volvo XC60.
Okay.
Now, right now we're driving the top trim. I've tried to remember the names of their cars, but it's the T8 something
T6,
something.
T8, exactly.
It'll be down here somewhere. We'll have it there, so don't worry about that. But in general, the car is very, very nice. It's a simple mid-sized SUV. It comes with a 2-liter turbo engine, 250 horsepower.
Okay.
But the nice thing about this particular one, which is the full ops one, is that it comes with a small little electric engine as well.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right? So the idea behind that engine is pretty simple. What it does is that it powers the things that take up petrol consumption in the car.
Okay.
So for example, let's say when you're accelerating, something that consumes petrol. When we use start-stop features, that consumes petrol.
Right.
All those things move to the electric engine,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay.
So even right now, as you're driving the car, I'm sure you feel a bit of that lightness that comes with the acceleration on an
absolutely.
electric car.
Feels, yeah,
That's
exactly.
as long as you've got a range, which is shown over there on your dashboard.
Right.
As long as there's electric range, you will have that.
But you can't drive this on electric.
No, you can't.
Okay.
And even if you were able to, it's too small. That's not what it's meant for.
Gotcha.
So that's there.
So before we get into the details of the car,
Right.
what does this cost? What am I looking at?
Okay, so at the base level, this starts at 200,000 dirhams.
Ooh.
So at its top range, which is what we're driving, this comes up to 280.
Oh wow.
Okay. So first and foremost, what Volvo's done here is put itself in two segments. One, at the 200-ish thousand, you're competing with high-end Pathfinders, patrols.
Right.
Sorry, not patrols. Prados, things like that.
Gotcha.
But on the 280 segment, it's competing with the BMW X3,
Right.
Audi, the mid-sized one, the A5, I think,
Gotcha.
the
Okay.
four-wheeler. I'm confused. Again,
Okay.
it'll be down here. But basically what they've done is they've positioned themselves there, and depending on what you're competing against, you'll get it. Now, the BMW X5 goes upwards into 300, so technically this would be a good deal. So it depends on how you look at it from that perspective.
I think I would probably put it in the same bracket as the X3 that you mentioned
Right.
rather than the Pathfinder, because the size of it isn't as huge as a Pathfinder.
Correct.
It's a 5-seater at the end of the day.
Yes.
It's not a 7-seater,
Yeah,
right?
it's a 5-seater.
So it's a 5-seater, and I think it's got a reasonably luxury finish, and we'll probably
Yeah.
get to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, you're right. The X3 would probably be the car to compete with.
I agree, because at the end of the day, while Volvo, it might not be synonymous in our minds with luxury, this is an extremely luxurious car. And obviously we'll come back to that in a minute. Now, before we go any further, if you do like our content, please do let us know, because we've been doing auto content for a little while now. We like where we're going with it, but we'd love to know if you have any feedback. So please do let us know in the comments.
Absolutely. We might think we're the best in the world, but we actually suck. And if we suck, please do let us know we suck.
But apart
Don't forget
from
to
that,
subscribe though. Even if you
Yeah.
suck, please do subscribe.
100%, 100%.
So the one thing about this car is that it's instantly recognizable as a Volvo.
Correct.
I like the way it looks, don't get me wrong, but Volvo's got this very design philosophy that's been going on for a few years
I
now.
would say much more than that, because if we think about when the Volvo station wagon sort of stereotype was born, technically at its base, at its root, the car looked the same, right? It didn't look very different. It looked so similar to what it looks now.
Agreed.
So what they do is they make these minor updates to sort of match the current world. So a little while ago, they basically put LED lights. Now those LED lights aren't a big addition in terms of changing the way the light itself looks, the design,
Right.
but it added that modern feature of LED.
Got it.
Similarly, this year we see a small new grille. Again, it's nothing fancy. They've just sharpened it.
Okay.
The bumper is a little neater, got a little more chrome on it.
Okay.
So things like that. They make very, very subtle changes.
Subtle.
They don't. Their whole philosophy in this matter is if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Fair
right?
enough. Fair enough. Just coming to that grille size that you mentioned,
Right.
they've reduced that slightly to make it
Right.
more modern. You've got other cars that are going on the other direction.
Yeah.
You've got massive grills
Yeah.
in the front.
And
So it's,
I think that's something that I think Volvo fans would actually like that, right? Because they don't make any claims of, oh, we're going to do a design change, we're going to do a shape change, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. The philosophy of it is pretty much the same. And I think that Volvo fans are a certain type.
Okay.
And
this
you know,
caters to them.
this caters to them.
Cool. Fair enough.
That
Coming to
sort
the
of
inside.
that sort of comes internally as well, because I was saying this earlier, where you're sitting, where your hands are touching, when you touch something, you feel luxury and you feel that
Does.
solidness.
Feels
right?
very nice, doesn't
Very
it?
solid. You don't feel at any point, you don't feel like, this is hollow, or the only time I felt it was the glove box.
Okay.
Which is fine. I'm not gonna crib about that,
Okay.
right?
Alright.
It feels very plasticky, the glove box, but apart
Alright.
from that, everything else is nice and solid. And I
Completely agree.
appreciate that, right? So you've got good leather here,
Mhm.
you've got nice wood. This wood feels so good.
It looks beautiful too.
Yeah, and you've got metal touches in the right places, nothing
Absolutely.
excessive.
Seat is super comfortable. Wherever my elbows are
Yeah.
resting, feels very
Yeah.
nice,
And
very comfy.
One thing now,
Soft.
I think the one European thing in this car is that it doesn't have that bouncy cushioness that an American car
Right.
has.
You kind of sink
Yeah.
into it. You
Like
just
it's
feel like
this
you
is
feel
just like this is it's meant to keep you nice
No.
and like stable, but apart from that, it
I actually like that.
I like it. I like it. I definitely like it. Like Sam didn't like that. Sam was like, "Oh, what
Really?
is this seat I'm
No,
sitting
I
on?"
like it. I like it.
I like it. I like the
I
fact
feel
that
comfortable sitting
yeah,
there.
agreed. So even here, for example, the AC vents, just the right amount of metal on them,
Mhm.
nice solid feel on these.
And look, you can move them.
Yes.
You can move them. You don't need a touch screen to
They
move
didn't
anything
go all
like that.
touchscreen for you.
Nice. I like that. I
So
like
yeah, even the volume knob over here, the buttons have a nice tactile feel. So yeah, in general, kudos on the interior.
It's a very minimalist design.
Very,
isn't
very,
it?
just exactly what you need.
I like it.
They didn't go the opposite way of, oh, let's go touch everything,
I
or they
like
didn't
that.
leave it to analog.
No, I like that. I
Yeah.
definitely like
Agreed. Moving forward, let's talk about the drive,
Mhm.
right? The drive of the car, I personally liked it,
Okay.
right? The 2-liter turbo engine does a great job. The ride is smooth.
Definitely.
What I love the most is the accelerator. Now, I'm a person who loves cruise control. We live in
Okay.
Dubai. It's all highway driving. I love
Mhm.
cruise control. But I love it not because of the service it offers, but because of the fact that most cars have, they're either too hard on the accelerator or too soft. There's a lot of pressing involved. This
Right.
one is flat. Your foot
Okay.
just stays in one place and the speed doesn't change. It's
Gotcha.
constant. I really, really like that. And like the whole concept of Volvo being synonymous with sort of reliability and stability. I mean, look at the drive you're having right
Yeah,
now. It's
absolutely.
a stable drive.
Absolutely.
I mean, while Dubai is awesome for its highways aren't the most,
Yep.
flattened. So it's really nice, a really, really nice drive.
I agree with you. I think it's a very smooth drive if I was to put something on there. You
Yeah.
know how you feel comfortable in the seats?
Yeah.
You feel comfortable driving it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've been lucky to drive this car for quite a while actually, a little longer review period,
Mhm.
and I never felt strain while driving it, and that's what I really appreciate. I never felt the strain of driving that much, or I never felt like, I'm in a bigger car, you know?
Gotcha. No, I like it too.
Yeah.
I like it. Drives
And
quite well.
in this version, the little electric motor
Mhm.
is on point. I love the fact that it's got a specific function and it does just that, and it does it so well. So like you'll notice as we continue driving along, especially because we're on the highway, it takes care of your fuel efficiency so well, because any sort of acceleration you'll do,
Mhm.
it takes care of. If you hit traffic in that start stop, it will take
the
care of
batteries,
it.
yeah.
So though anything that takes up petrol consumption, and which is what kind of ruins our, let's say, petrol consumption averages, is what this motor is meant for. It's not
Gotcha.
meant to drive, it's not meant for any of that.
Gotcha.
And that's something I really like.
Absolutely, I think that's a good approach for a hybrid vehicle. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have to drive it on electric. It just
Yeah.
helps where it needs to help.
And the great thing about a small motor, while it has its drawbacks, the great thing is that the small motor, like we've been driving for about 20 minutes,
Mhm.
and it's been charged about 7-8 kilometers just on this
While we were
drive.
driving, that's
So you can charge it up.
true. So Volvo is from Sweden, right?
Correct.
So is IKEA.
Yes.
There's got to be something quirky about the car. Tell
Okay.
me what's quirky about
So the
this
first
one.
quirky thing is Orrefors Sweden, which is the crystal company that made this crystal gear knob.
I saw this shiny
Right?
gear knob and I was like, what is this?
It's crystal, it's transparent, and it's only available in this version of the car.
One question.
Yes.
Why?
I have no idea. It just looks nice, I guess.
Does it? I mean, right now
It's okay. See, listen,
Yeah.
right now it looks lame, but in the night it looks really nice.
Okay.
It's that little touch of luxury that, like, you know, that quirky thing you have to make your car luxurious.
Okay.
That's there. Apart from that, the other thing that's quirky is the steering wheel.
All
Now,
right.
while the steering wheel itself drives really nicely,
Yeah.
really smooth, I have no idea why they have screwed around with the buttons. I don't understand. First and foremost, those are your volume up-down buttons.
This?
Why? Yes.
Really?
Why is it not plus minus like it is in every car in the world, right? When you switch on that, use that button to switch on cruise control, I cannot figure out how to switch it off. I mean, when I say off, I mean the function itself, not just like braking and switching off cruise
Right.
control.
Turning it off, turning the whole system
And
off.
then, like, they dedicated 2 buttons over there to the distance between the cars. I don't get it. I don't get it. There was no reason. This is one of those things where they were like, okay, fine, we have to play around with something, so let's try this.
We got to make this car
Yeah.
more Swedish. It wasn't
Exactly.
Swedish enough. One of the things I noticed is this vertical orientation
Yes.
screen on this.
Yeah.
Now, funny enough, I had a Volvo XC60 that had come in for review good 5 years
Okay.
ago, and it had almost identical screen orientation and size.
Right.
Back then, this screen looked massive.
Okay.
But 5 years down the
Yeah.
road, it just looks
Yeah.
okay. So tell
Because-
us a little bit about that.
The first and foremost thing is that the vertical orientation makes screens look smaller anyway.
Okay.
So now, for example, let's take a car we had recently, the MG, that had a 10-inch screen. But that was
Yep.
horizontal, so it looked way bigger, right?
Absolutely.
In this scenario, you've got a 9-inch screen, and as a screen, it's really good.
Right.
It's bright, it's vibrant, it's got really good touch.
Okay.
But the unique thing in this car is that Volvo has a partnership with Google.
Ah.
And when I say partnership, I mean that the OS running this system is Google.
Should I be scared?
Well, not really. The glitches don't really are not to the level that you should be scared, but there are a few glitches. With Google, there are some perks and there's some drawbacks.
Okay.
The perks are some good stuff. So you've got Google Maps integration,
Mm-hmm.
you've got a load of apps like YouTube, Spotify, all
Oh, nice.
preloaded, and you have the App Store where you can download right now mostly your Spotify and your music streaming and audiobook apps.
Does it
right?
have a built-in LTE connection, 5G
So
connection? How
you
does
can
that
either pop a SIM card in. In our case right now, we're using a hotspot.
work? Got it.
Not the worst solution in the world because you can just charge your car and charge your phone in the car.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, if you could afford it, a SIM card would be a great idea. You can get a sister SIM for your own SIM card
There you
and
go.
it
Exactly.
costs nothing.
Okay.
So that's there.
So we've got a secondary screen in the dashboard
Yeah.
as well.
Right.
Nice big screen. It stretches all the way. Tell me a little bit about this one.
Okay. So it's a really nice screen, as you can see. Crisp, good color, nice clarity, but it's half-baked.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Can you press that button of the 2 screens on the bottom? I'll do it for you. This one.
All right.
That's it. That's
I
all
mean,
you can
I'm
do with that
looking at
screen.
a lot of black space.
That's
right
what I'm
now.
saying. That's it.
So you either get the map across the screen or
Correct.
you get nothing.
You get nothing.
Okay.
And right now, like, it's showing you distances to turn because where navigation's on, but otherwise it's
Right.
just black. It's
Interesting.
I guess it's as quirky as these things get.
Okay.
The last tech thing that someone needs to know when they're buying this car is their audio system.
Okay.
So the audio system here is Bowers & Wilkins. I will put it over here how many speakers it has because I forgot to Google that. But again, similar to this display, a little half-baked. So the audio itself,
Yeah.
great quality, really nice, good audio. But when you go into customizations, there's a good amount of customizations where you can change just sound, you can change the sound stage, and you can do tuning.
Okay.
But for example, soundstage just has two modes: concert and jazz.
What is soundstage? Define that.
Soundstage would be basically defining the way you want the audio to be heard all across in the car.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
So it's really weird because suppose I'm just listening to a regular commercial track right now.
Right.
I don't need concert hall or jazz. Maybe I just need a little bass or whatever.
Okay.
So I just kept finding myself coming back to the regular mode, and I just felt like there was a little more tuning there that could have worked. But otherwise, like I said, audio itself is great, nice, clean, clear.
Nice. Power and Opens, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they're a pretty good brand to sort of work with.
Definitely. Okay. So before we wrap the video up, last thing I want to discuss, which I will always discuss till it becomes a standard feature, is this car has a 2.5 micron air filter.
Okay.
Now, very important to someone like me who has chronic sinus. I mean, we saw how bad the weather was over the past few days.
I thought they were shooting the new Mission Impossible movie. That's what I thought. Okay. All right.
But yeah, it has one and it works really well. You can literally right now open the windows. You'll see the air filter show that the air quality is getting worse. Close the windows and literally in seconds, the air gets cleaned up.
Nice and clean.
I really like that.
All right, so I mean, everything we talked about,
Right.
mostly positive. I think both
Yep.
you and I kind of like this car.
Yep.
And about the only thing that sticks out for me is the pricing.
Right.
So, this car, the Volvo XC60
Yep. and
Hybrid
it's-
Edition,
Yeah.
worth it?
At 280, initially, I was like, no way, not happening, no way. But then I kind of realized something, which is that the car, or rather the brand, is not cool. And you don't think of it when you think of spending money. And, you know, like if I say BMW, I can, in my mind, like 300,000 just clicks easily, right? Whereas you don't think of that when you think of Volvo.
That's true.
But considering what the car is offering, the level of luxury, apart from that disgusting steering wheel, apart from those buttons, everything else is great. Everything works well. The car just gives you what you need, and most importantly, at the end of the day, it's a Volvo, so it's super safe.
Yep.
So from that perspective, I'm not saying 280 is a good deal. I'm not saying it's the perfect deal. I'm not saying it's a bargain, but it could be considered. You could walk away happy.
Yeah, I think I'll generally agree with you. Look, I like the drive of it.
Yep.
It feels nice to drive, and it's quite comfy as well.
All right.
So I kind of like that. I like the fact that it's Android based from a tech perspective.
Right.
I don't like the fact that it doesn't have CarPlay or Android
Yep.
Auto. I think all of those things together, the finishing is nice, it looks beautiful, I like the whole wooden touch.
Yep.
I like the car. 260, 270, right, is a lot of money.
Yep.
Maybe I need to be 50 plus to sort of, on this car, coming back to where we started from.
Or hey, maybe they just want to push you into the XC90 and stuff where you're like, oh, if I'm considering 280, let's just jump to 300.
Yeah, I guess I'm not responsible enough. Go a little bit more.
Fair enough. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe. And most importantly, let us know what you think of the Volvo XC60. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you at the next one.